Peace family, Contra Queen here, and I'm going to propose a very controversial question. Now, I'm very family oriented, and I definitely love the fact that, family build and grow together. And I definitely do believe that family should work out issues if there's ever any problems that is worth resolving, as long as both parties are willing to do the work and heal, right? So I want to propose a question. Let's say, for instance, a person had a really bad parent, meaning like the parent was abusive, parent was on drugs, parent was an alcoholic, parent was just doing everything to neglect their own health. And now that this parent is older and their health is declining, and this parent has nobody to take care of them, no money, and the only person that they have is the same child that they was mean to, disrespected, abused, neglected, now they're relying on this child to take care of them. Do you feel that the child has a responsibility to still care for this parent when this parent is sickly and has nobody else? Is it the child's responsibility to take care of the parent? Or is it the parent's responsibility to make sure that they live a healthy lifestyle and lead by example, so that way when they do get older, they don't become a burden to their children? So I know that this is controversial, and I want the parents and the non-parents to respond to this video, because I've seen a really interesting thread on Reddit, and this was a good question. Somebody was like, listen, it was a girl, she was saying how she and her mom had a really bad relationship, and that she's been doing therapy, she's been healing herself, she's been doing everything to try to make the relationship with her mother work, but her mother just continue to trigger her and be abusive and doesn't want to do therapy. Like, you can't force somebody to work on themselves or go to therapy if they don't want to, right? But this person says that they do everything for their mom. Like, their whole entire life, like, they tried to please their mom. That's why they became a people's pleaser, because they was always putting the mother's needs before their own. And because of that stigma, they've grown to put themselves last in everything, like in their friendships, in their business relations, and their romantic partnerships. Like, they've always made sure everybody in a room is happy and good before they actually can relax. And this is unhealthy, because this is how codependency begins. Everything begins in the early childhood. And so when she was explaining in a Reddit post about, how she's been doing everything, going over and beyond to try to help her mom. And now she's an adult, right? She's an adult, and now she's thinking, she's like, she met somebody and she wants to, they probably thinking about having a family and stuff, but she doesn't want her mother in her life. And she's saying that it's breaking her heart because she knows that her mom is alone. Her mom has no one. Everybody left the mother because the mother was so bitter and mean and miserable and vindictive to everybody around her that the mother pushed everybody away. And the only person who stuck around was that daughter, who was holding her down. And so the daughter is pretty much saying she's sick of it. She's done. Like, she's had enough. She's been trying to make the relationship with her mother work. And now her mother is sickly, and her mother's trying to be like, oh, you're my, I need you. You're my daughter. You're supposed to take care of me. It's like this entitlement. Like, I took care of you. I changed your Pampers. I sacrificed so you could be here. And one thing that I don't really like is when parents do that. It's like, yeah, of course you did all these things for your child. Your child didn't ask to be born. You brought them into this world. Knowing that you wanted to have a child, you should have had your finances in check. You should have had everything planned out, instead of putting all of those burdens and the lack of responsibility and planning that you didn't do on your child. There's more people that's talking about it now that we're living in the age of social media, now that we're living in the age of everybody's kind of talking about these problems, right? And I want to just say that it's a healthy thing that we're having these conversations and we're talking on these podcasts about our traumas and our issues. And honestly, a lot of us have very similarities, right? Like, a lot of situations that are very similar. And I want to ask you a question, family, right? Like, what do you think? Drop your comments in the comment section. Like, let us know what you think. Do you feel like a child is obligated to take care of their parent? Are they wrong for putting their parent in a nursing home, right? Like, and how do you feel about no contact? A lot of millennials and Gen Z are going no contact with their toxic parents. Like, there's a whole movement right now where people are going to therapy. People are understanding the traits of narcissism, abuse. And I want to just be very clear that abuse doesn't always mean physical abuse. Sometimes your parent could have made sure that you had food, clothing, shelter, that you was clean, that you had all of your basic needs met. But emotionally, they could have been neglecting you. Emotionally, they could have been abusing you, calling you names, making you feel little, belittling you. you, emasculating you, making you feel less than a woman, whatever it may be. Like, these parents are so toxic, and it's even worse when you have a jealous parent. Let's talk about that, okay? Jealous parents are so dangerous. I want to just make a disclaimer here. People who have grown up in very healthy households, very healthy, like, parents who loved them, who took care of them, nurtured them, did parent in the right way, the correct way, the healthy way, right? There's no right way or wrong way, but there's a healthy way and there's an unhealthy way. So to the parents who actually raise their children the healthy way, right? For those who had healthy parents, you probably are looking at this video and saying, how could a person possibly go no contact with their parent? How could a person possibly put their parent in a nursing home? How could a person possibly not want to introduce their children to their parent? Like, what kind of child would do that? And I want to just tell you that even though you may not be able to understand what other people may go through, you're fortunate to have healthy parents, because the majority of the situation, based on statistics, most of us didn't have healthy upbringings. Most of us were learning to just survive. So we didn't get a chance to have a childhood. We didn't get a chance to thrive. We didn't get a chance to explore and to really just indulge in a beautiful childhood like most children were able to that had healthy parents and upbringing, right? So now that we're adults and we're finally getting the therapy, it's like now we're finally able to understand, like, how to live, how to have boundaries, how to say no. Because when you have an overbearing parent or a narcissistic parent, you don't have any boundaries. You don't have any identity. It's like narcissists consider everybody around them extensions of themselves. You are not an individual. You are part of them. Like, you're my daughter. You're my son. You belong to me. I had you. I pushed you out of me. You came from my seed, right? Like, hearing that is like this possessiveness. It's like, I own you. And I'll never forget it. When I was in high school, I had a teacher who made a great speech. We was in the class and he was like, you know what? I hate the fact that parents think that they own children. And he sat in with all of the students and was like, listen, your parents don't own you. That conversation changed my whole mindset on parenting from high school. When he was like, yes, when you have children, a lot of parents feel like their children are their possessions, right? Like, they're things. I own you. You're going to do what I say. You're going to take up the studies I tell you to study. You're going to go to the school I tell you to go to. You're going to do this job I tell you to go to. It's like they had you just so that you can fulfill the broken dreams that they weren't able to. This jealousy where they start to see, like, let's say, for instance, you probably have parents who wanted to always have a healthy, loving relationship, and they never did. And so let's say you find a healthy, loving relationship and they see you growing, they see you thriving. They're going to start putting little nasty bugs in your ear talking about, that relationship is too good to be true. They must be cheating. Or, I don't know. He seems a little too nice. I don't know. Like, he probably ain't for you. He probably got another girlfriend, another wife. Or they might put some bug in your ear. Toxic mothers with they sons, right, ladies? We know about this. Mothers who feel like their sons are their husbands and they don't want to let their son go. So when their son find a woman that makes them happy, the mother becomes pretty much attached to that son, and it's like you in a relationship with him and his mama. Yeah, you get a package deal because she ain't going nowhere. And it's up to the man to set those boundaries, right? Like, if you have an overbearing parent that is in your relationship, first of all, it's my opinion, and y'all let me know what you think. Do you put your family and your friends in your romantic business? Because me personally, I'm a very private person. Y'all don't never even see me post booze on my social media, right? Y'all never see me post nobody. So why exactly do you think I'm going to be sitting here telling everybody around me what's going on in my intimate relationship life? Like, no. I honestly feel like your relationship will last and be more healthier when you keep your problems to yourself, you work things out. And if it ever gets to a point where you feel like, you know what, I need to get advice from somebody else outside of this relationship to get a different perspective, you might want to look at a professional, right? Like, you might want to seek a therapist, somebody who has an objective point of view, not somebody who might have an agenda. Because you got to be careful, right? Like, you might be thinking that you're going to this toxic parent to get comfort and counsel because maybe you've grown a codependent relationship with this parent since they were narcissists and you don't have any boundaries, and so you became codependent with them. You want to seek therapy from this parent knowing that this parent's going to give you toxic advice. It's going to leave you lonely and destitute, and once again reattach to that toxic parent. So they're going to keep creating these scenarios to make you either dependent on them or feel like you're not worthy enough to stand on your own 2 feet. I hate to say it, but everything that I'm saying is starting to resonate, and you have a toxic parent that makes you feel like nothing that you do is ever good enough. that makes you feel like, you know, who breaks you down, like mentally, physically, spiritually, who you feel like just drains you just by having a conversation with them or just being in their presence. You feel drained and tired, and it takes days to replenish that energy back. And listen, it's okay to block your parent if they're becoming overbearing. It's okay to say, you know what, I think that we need some space, and you need to establish those boundaries. Because family, I think that we're in a time now where all of the pain and trauma that we've been suppressing and not talking about, that time is over, right? The dark ages is over. And everything that was in the dark, all of our traumas, our childhood traumas, our issues, our pains, it's like Spirit is making us all focus and face it right now, right? Because 2025 is going to be a huge shift. And we can't go into this new paradigm, this new shift, this new energy with these old attachments. You're not going to be able to find healthy relationships. And I'm talking about like romantic, platonic, business, whatever. If you are still not doing the work to heal from the toxic relationships from your early upbringing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be toxic parents. It could be toxic caretakers, toxic family members, right? People that you grew up with, even toxic siblings that were probably abusive and mean to you. And maybe your caretakers or your parents didn't do anything about it. So it's levels to this, family. But to circle back to the original question that the Reddit post asked, the girl asked, what do you think that if she distanced herself from her mother and completely goes no contact, even though the mother is sickly and the mother is in a nursing home, rehabilitation center, right? And the mother has nobody else. How do y'all feel about that? Who's in the wrong here, right? Should the daughter put her needs to the side and her happiness to the side to make the mother happy? Or should the daughter put her happiness first once and for all, right? And just create some boundaries and distance and just say, nah, like, you're unhealthy and I don't want to have any relations with you, and I don't want my children to have any relations with you until you work on yourself, because I don't want my children to be subjected to the same mental torment and abuse that you put me through. She said she had to go to years of therapy, and she said she doesn't want to subject her children to that same trauma. So now she's a mom, and now she's thinking, listen, you know what I'm saying? She's thinking about her children. Now, where they gonna go? It's a painful decision to have to cut off your parent. It's a painful decision to have to go no contact, to block them. Nobody wants to be in a bad relationship with their parent. Nobody wants that. Who really just says, yeah, you know what, today I woke up and I decided I don't want to talk to my parents today? No. Like, I believe everybody wished that they had a really great relationship with their parent. And it's sad because most of us will probably never get that. And that's the part where we have to grieve. It's a grieving process. You're grieving the fact that you will never get that healthy mother that you always wanted. You will never get that healthy dad that you always wanted. You won't get it. But it's up to you. You can find one, right? Like the one that you was born into. You can control that. But you can find somebody who is like a mother figure to you, right? Or an older, bigger sister figure to you, or like a bigger brother or a dad figure to you, that you can say, you know what? I didn't really have a good influence growing up in a mother figure or a father figure. But you know what? I can find it myself. I know who I am. I know what I'm looking for. Or I have an idea of a healthy relationship. Or start looking at, you know, go on YouTube or start researching what does a healthy relationship look like. Because a lot of us probably never seen one. So how can we possibly expect to have a healthy relationship with anybody if we've never seen what it looks like? We haven't had an example. We haven't had time to practice it, to study it, to understand it, the concepts, the foundations of it, right? Like, it's levels to this. So family, it's a lot to unpack, but drop your comments below. Let me know what you think. And if you're new to my channel, guys, make sure you subscribe and make sure you like this video if it resonated in any way. But I'm curious to know what you think. What's your thoughts on toxic parents, family? I'll talk to you soon. I can't wait to read your comments, so drop them below. Until next time, signing out. Peace.